Hey, welcome back to Delboy's Garage. Now this is part 20 of Project Rat Trailer, the silly project to make a rat trailer to tow behind the damaged pile itself and have a rolling motorcycle and trailer outfit. So those of you who followed it along know roughly where we are. We've just sort of entered the stage of decorating it now, the stage of painting, which is quite good fun. But today I've had a little bit of a brainwave, so I'm going back. I'm going to weld something on it tonight, something that's come up that's a very simple thing that will prevent problems later on, and I'm going to do it tonight before I get much more painting into it, because it's just an afterthought really. But before I go there, I got a sticker today from Cigar Captain. There's a sticker, mate, thank you for that. That is fantastic. That is brilliant. That's going to go with the others. But the other thing that you sent was brilliant, rattlesnake eggs. I've never seen rattlesnake eggs, and I very carefully opened this up. And you just check, there are some rattlesnake eggs. I kid you not. That is the daftest thing I've ever seen. I jumped out my sodden skin, and so did she. That is hilarious, mate. Thank you for that. I'm going to have a lot of fun with that at work. There's plenty of women who will need the toilet after they've opened that. Like someone else.
Like I do.
Yeah. Brilliant. Absolutely inspired. So thank you, Cigar Captain. That's going on the wall. It's got to paint this. I'm going to paint this over in white, just with some Dulux non-drip gloss, so it's a nice sticky surface, and then put them all up, along with Tim's and Cecil and a few others that I've no doubt got coming now. I think the first batch got out today. So thanks, Cigar Captain, I appreciate that. And there's one on its way to you, mate. Got the address there, so that'll be on its way to you in the morning by probably rowing boat now in the British Post system. Right, so back to the trailer. Let's show you what I mean with this. Right, so the problem that seem to have identified is the issue of standing it on its back edge. When I'm not using this, I stand it up against the wall, and it leans nicely, neatly up against the wall, and all is good. That's fine. But it dawned on me today, driving around in my bus, I'm going to have lights on the back of it. There will be some lights fixed on the back. In the fullness of time, they will get done. They might be really nice posh lights, there might just be something cheap and cheerful, but there'll be lights nonetheless, and they'll have plastic lenses. And to stand it up on its back edge, well, it's just going to mince them. So, come up with an idea. I think what's going to need is something to protect this back edge. And I've got a brainwave. It's going to work quite well if I can pull it off. So, this is what I thought. Incidentally, before I do anything, come in close on this bed. Let's have a look at this. This is after 2 coats. Looking in the corner, it's not coming off. But if you can see there, come in close on that. It's still squishy in the corners. So it's still quite soft. It's got a skin over it. And it is fantastic finish. None of it's actually coming off. But in where the thick bits are, all in the corners, it's still soft. So I can't do a lot. But I can do this. If I bring it over this way a bit. I just bung it up on that edge. That's perfect. Pretty perfect. Right. Now that's not bearing on any of the painted edge. So it's around here. What I'm thinking is, I've got this metal rod. Now I don't know what it's made from. It comes from an old curtain. Decorative sort of curtain rod. I think it's steel. It's heavy enough to be steel. Just hope it's not raw iron, because it would just snap. Yeah, it's steel. So what I'm going to do, the idea is to bend this in a curve around there, and then weld it top and weld it bottom, which means scuffing a bit of this off just to tack it on, but that's not a problem. And then I can just recoat it up later on. And then it'll have 2 bars. Effectively, if I do one either side, they'll act like bumpers, so I can stand it on there. It should bend quite nicely. Bend it around a fire extinguisher or something and get a nice curve to it. Then when I stand it up against the wall, it will stand on those rather than standing on and breaking the lights, because I'll have a number plate, lights and all sorts of stuff on the back. And also constantly grinding this edge into the floor. As much as this stuff's tough, it will eventually go through and that will just look ugly. So having that round it will look better. So let's see how we get on with that. Okay. Right, bit of steel rod. Quickest way to find the middle. use a bit of physics. There you go. You've got to measure it. That's the middle, exactly there, wherever it balances. Mind in it. Just lob it in half. Lob it in half, Dill. Pull that out of the way. Paintbrush full of spirit. Alright, made one through trial and error, got that right. So the first thing is get roughly the same. Obviously you can make one, you can bodge one up and make it any old how, but then making the other one the same is important. One clean movement. Okay, paint cracks off, but he would deal. Bring that back up a little bit. Just matching that around and that. That's it. The same. Much. That's it. The same. Now put the middle bit in. Okay. Use what you have. On the strong bit. Should cover it. Roughly the same. Just curling in just a little bit. Almost. Now that's not. Here's another little one. Bit twisted. That's it. There you go, bit of blacksmithing. Almost. Here we are. That should go as intended on there. That's the idea. Generally bringing out a bumper effectively. Later on I could brace that, perhaps a bit of triangulation into there and there, but at the moment that will just weld on there, I reckon. So next thing, bit of grinding off of various paint finishes. Be interesting to see how this stuff grinds off after saying so much about it being bulletproof. We'll see how it stands up to the lapper of doom. Right, to prep this first. You just know you're going to get a bit of my dries. Ready?
Mm-hmm.
And again. Okay. And again. Ain't going anywhere. Excellent. And there we go. That is strong as you like. Go. That route. That's it. Perfect. Okay, bit of primer. Come around, pen. Some straw from the sand. Just protectify it until the secret coating goes on the top. So they'll just protect it like a bumper, so when I roll it up on its back edge it won't rip all this off. And actually protect them, let them stand off the lights. So I put the lights in, they'll come up there. I might even put a cage across, perhaps get some sort of metal rod, weld a little cage across that, might look nice. Just pushing this about with a brush, just like here, it is still soft, and that's 24 hours because there's so much of it piled in there. I shall probably give it at least a weekend now. So there we go, nothing really special, just had a brainwave today. 2 little bumper rolls. So now when I stand it up on its back edge, up against the wall, it will just roll up on those little bumpers, buzz them on. Another little thought, another little addition, there you go. That was episode 20 of Project Rat Trailer. It's getting mad now. Thanks for tuning in and watching Delboy's Garage. Ride safe, see you for the next one.